Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and a very good evening to all IKIM radio listeners who are with us this evening. Inshallah, this is our another episode of Open Forum with me and Zahura Abdul Aziz, your host. And inshallah, we'll be talking about on another important or another interesting topic. And I think this is very much related to what we have been listening about harmony and peaceful coexistence in the context of Malaysia. And with me today, I have a very special guest. We have Dr. Asri Saleh. He is a Special Task Officer to the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, Doctor.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Welcome to Open Forum. All right, and thank you for accepting our invitation to appear on this program. And I think what we'll be discussing today is very much interesting. And some of us may have not heard about this, but it's somehow relevant and important for us to understand. So before we go to our topic of conversation this evening, which is La Covivencia, I think I've got that right, eh? La Covivencia. The aspiration of harmony and peaceful coexistence in Malaysia. Right, Dr. Asri Saleh is actually currently the Special Task Officer to our Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs Malaysia, and then he was actually also attached as a Special Task Officer of the Deputy Minister of Minister of Education, Second Minister of Education from September 2021 to November 2022. In terms of his educational background, he obtained his Bachelor of Human Sciences from IIUM, and also his Masters of Human Sciences from IIUM, and a PhD in International Relations from UMS in 2017. Currently, he's also actually attached, and he's being seconded actually from UITM Kota Kinabalu, right, from the Faculty of Public Admin and Policy Studies. So, Dr. Asri, when we talk about Malaysian society, when we talk about the dynamics of Malaysian society, we're talking about the existence of many people of many backgrounds, and in terms of religious background, ethnicities, and so on. Coming from coming from Sabah, I think you see this dynamic very much, in detail, because Sabah has a lot of these indigenous groups, and the dynamic of it is very much real. So when we talk about integration and unity in the Malaysian context, what do you think are the principles central to ensuring this harmonious relations among people in the country? If you may share with our listeners, Dr. Asri.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi. Thank you for having me firstly. And of course, this is a very simple question, bro. But you're asking me a simple question, but the answer doesn't seem to be so. But before I proceed, of course, I would like to highlight one thing. Of course, I'm originally from Sabah, but I've spent about more than 20 years also in Peninsular Malaysia. Then, of course, I was born in Sabah. And then this is I've been very fortunate to see the this unity, the thing you talk about just now, the unity in Malaysia between the people, between the multi ethnicities, multi religions, multi races, so multi people, of course. So of course, like Ernie highlighted, we have seen this. I think Sabah and Sarawak have people have been talking about the real examples being showed, exhibited by the people of Sabah and Sarawak of how truly there is a spirit of coexistence between different faiths, different people, different ethnics. So the real example you can see also you can see in Sabah, in
Mhm.
Sarawak.
Yeah.
Like I said, because I would like to highlight the first thing just now, because I see also the same thing here in Peninsula Malaysia. So I
Mhm.
would like to highlight one thing, that it is not unique only to Sabah and Sarawak. This
Right.
racial unity. But of course, when people from the other side come over to Sabah and Sarawak, and they see another level of this unity. Yes,
Yeah.
they
Yes.
coexist. So, for example, in Sabah and Sarawak, in Sabah, especially in Sabah, we have this program every annually. We have this program called berbuka puasa,
Mhm.
iftar, together
Mhm.
with its multi faith family.
Mhm.
Means in one family there are multiple faiths living together. So
Mhm.
this is one common site in Sabah, and
Yeah.
also I think also it is common in Sarawak.
Yeah.
And yet again, when I spent, like I said, I spent 20 years here in Semenanjung, I also
Mhm.
saw the same thing. Actually, I also see same thing. But
Mhm.
the only things that differentiates between these two circumstances is the what I would like to call as our awareness of religious tenets,
Mhm.
religious obligations. This is
Mhm.
the only thing that separates between these uh, coexistence in Sabah between East Malaysia and West Malaysia. This
Mhm.
religious awareness is different, but that
Mhm.
one can go for a different day. We can
Mhm.
discuss a different topic. But as it
Yeah.
is, I would like to highlight one thing, that I see peaceful coexistence, harmonious relationships between multi-ethnic, multi-faiths
Mhm.
do exist in Sabah, in East Malaysia and West Malaysia.
Mhm.
So this is one thing. Yes, but of course, Ernie, you ask about these. What are the principles, central principles of ensuring this harmonious and coexistence? Of course, there are so many. There are so many. I think Malaysia for the past 60 years we've been actually doing exactly that.
Mhm.
So from the first prime minister until the current prime minister, they have been calling for this harmonious existence, and I think I would like to say this, that we have been so far successful. Of course, there are problems here and there, troubles here and there, but on generally, yes, we are doing it the right way, and we
Mhm.
are the right direction. And I wish that our society, Malaysian society, will continue on this path, and in doing so, will be able to reach even greater heights. Uh,
Mhm.
this is more or less, and those principles, I think you, me, and the public know. For example, acceptance, tolerance, equity, and justice, and of course, equality of opportunities. And and lastly, I would like to highlight is this the existence of some form of legal control or mechanism,
Mhm.
or in other words, enforcement of all these principles I mentioned so far. There are
Mhm.
hundreds of principles. Yes, yes, there are hundreds of principles. I can go on and on, sharing with you the list, hundreds, 200s, 300s, but I would like to highlight these five just now:
Mhm.
acceptance, tolerance, equity, and justice, then
Mhm.
quality of opportunities, and lastly, the presence of legal control or mechanism. Yes,
Mhm.
these are the five key principles to ensure our harmonious existence so far and beyond.
Mhm.
Yes,
Well,
Ernie.
when you mentioned about the five principles, including one
Yes,
which is the legal control mechanism, we have the what do you call that, the constitution. We have rules and law, as this mechanism. But do you think the level of understanding of the general public is enough with regard to this kind of mechanisms that we have in place?
I think I would like to agree with your proposition just now. I think so far, yes, yes. I think the public in general have a sufficient understanding of these legal control mechanisms. But of course, this is a continuous effort because generations after generations, we will have different level of understanding and a
Mm-hmm.
different level of comprehension. That's why
Mm-hmm.
these efforts have to be continuously done,
Mm-hmm.
continuously uh, 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 spread and shared with the general public. It has to be done in. I mean, it has to be done in phases and in perpetuality,
Mm-hmm.
perpetual. You have to
Mm-hmm.
do this continuously. It has
Mm-hmm.
to because people of yesteryears, people last 2 3 decades may have a different understanding of what this legal framework we have right now,
Yeah.
and people of the next decade, 2 decades might have different ways of understanding it. They have
Mm-hmm.
what I'm trying to say is this: people tend to have different ways of looking at things depending on the circumstances they are on.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on the conditions, depending on the time, depending
Mm-hmm.
on even of the places they are uh, attached to. Yes,
Yeah.
so different. Yeah, that's why I said first thing I said just now. People from Sabah when they come to the people from the East Malaysia when they come to West Malaysia and
Mm-hmm.
they see and they understand differently.
Yeah.
And then likewise, people from West Malaysia when they come to East Malaysia and they see and they understand things differently. But
Mm-hmm.
overall, the framework remains the same. For example, right now the current government
Mm-hmm.
is making sure that the media, so the social media, and the mainstream media uh, take uh, uh, takes take very good care of these three R. Yes, that means the three key things that the media must stay away from or
Mm-hmm.
protect the public from things on religious, race, and royalty. So these
Mm-hmm.
are the three things that this this is what I would like to emphasize once again. This legal control mechanism. It
Mm-hmm.
is important. It is important. Otherwise, all these principles will uh, just remain as no more than lip service.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This legal control. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Right. You've raised a very important point whereby, how the younger generations today might perceive things differently from what our predecessors or from what our older generation understand, and their experience is also different. And the more mature as a nation we become, there are different challenges that come and that we need to face, and with different challenges, there will be different approach must be undertaken. Okay, our topic is about La Covivencia. Some of us might find it difficult to pronounce. Some of us might find it interesting because it's something new to them. But some of us definitely have heard about it. You wrote a piece about this in one of the articles in one of the publication. Um, so, what is La Covivencia? If you may share with our listeners, Dr. Asri.
Yeah, Ernie. In fact, I myself also uh, came across this term quite recently. I mean, of course, I wrote this paper in 2010. It was
Mm-hmm.
published by Pusat Malaysia. But
Mm-hmm.
of course, when I came across this term, and then when I look at Malaysia, and then I see that as if I'm looking at the mirror. I
Mm-hmm.
think I think La Convivencia. this is of course a Spanish word, which means
Mm.
the spirit of coexistence.
Mhm.
And then when I look at Malaysia, I have this feeling as if Malaysia is representing the Asian La Convivencia. La
Mhm.
Convivencia is actually a term popularized by the coexistence between the three major faiths during the rule of the Umayyad dynasty in Iberia, or the modern day Spain.
Mhm.
So during the Umayyad rule in Spain, I
Mhm.
think about 700 years. I think I have this the year here from 711 up to 1492. It was about 781 years. So
Mhm.
during this rule, the Umayyad dynasty ruled over three major faiths: the Christianity, the Jews, and the Muslim. So
Mhm.
during these 781 years, these the people, the people of uh, these Andalusia nation
Mhm.
under the Umayyad rule. They
Mhm.
have they have been able to live together,
Mhm.
coexisted together, and through this coexistence, they had managed to reach a greater height in terms of uh, technology, in terms of philosophy, in terms of uh, even of medication.
Mhm.
If you remember, there was once UK Prime Minister going by this name Benjamin Disraeli. In
Mhm.
fact, he was the Prime Minister of UK for twice.
Mhm.
Twice. It was in 1868 first time, and then the second time from 1874 until 1880. So
Mhm.
Mr. Disraeli he described the eras during the Umayyad dynasty, the Andalusian people. He described this era as the golden years of the Hebrew philosophy. Hebrew
Mhm.
philosophy. So, in fact, I also like to refer to another article written by Dr. Nasharuddin Mat Issa. I think it was published by Newsrest Time in
Mhm.
2016. I think he went further explaining about the La Convivencia.
Mhm.
He mentioned some names, some figures from the Jewish community, Christians community, and Muslims community living side
Mhm.
by side and helping to develop Andalusia nation as a
Mhm.
country and also as a community. Now,
Mhm.
what is more important about La Convivencia is that it is the era in which it was considered as the bridge of knowledge from from Spain into Europe.
Mhm.
In other words, we can say that La Convivencia became uh, the beacon of light for Renaissance of Europe.
Mhm.
Uh, because during La Convivencia, during this Umayyad rule, many books were translated into Greek language, European languages, and so these books, when they were exported to Europe, they helped to resuscitate, to ignite the Renaissance, and eventually uh, leads to what Europe is today. So
Mhm.
that's why La Convivencia is also a true reflection of how people of different faiths could come and live together for more than 700 years. So it is something that is doable.
Mhm.
It can be done. It
Mhm.
is different from what we are in modern world today. We've been taught about nationalism, about our the superiority of one single race over the other. So this La Convivencia is actually is a proof. It serves as a proof that uh, extreme nationalism actually can be taken over by this moderate way of life, which
Mm-hmm.
of course founded in the principles of Islam. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
because my dynasty is based upon Islamic rule. So that's
Mm-hmm.
why when we mention about Islamic rule, Islamic principles, then we have to look at two key sources of Islam, which of course has served as a framework for the rule of Umayyad. Now the
Mm-hmm.
key sources of references. Number one, Quran, and number two, Islam. So that's why I would like to go very fast, a little bit faster on this, because
Mm-hmm.
through the rule, the Umayyad rule, I think uh, uh, shows to us that the principles of life in Islam is actually something that can be done. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
I remember the last sermon of Prophet Muhammad. He mentions about. I think I would like to summarize it into five key points. One
Mm-hmm.
moment, he said about upholding human dignity, uh, honoring the rights of women, ensuring economic equality, no discrimination, and finally, hold true to the teachings of Islam. So
Mm-hmm.
when the Prophet says hold true to the teachings of Islam, then I remember this one ayah from Quran, Surah Hujurat,
Mm-hmm.
verse 13.
Yeah.
Allow me to read a little bit, Miss
Yes.
Ernie. So and Al Quran says, Ya ayuhan nas, inna khalaqnakum min dhakarin wa untha wa ja'alnakum shu'uba wa qabaila lita'arafu. This is very important word, lita'arafu.
Yeah.
Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. So here in this words explains there is no superiority of race over one another, because
Mm-hmm.
Allah only sees those among you, the pious one, as the most kareem, the most uh, deservingly of his pleasure in
Mm-hmm.
this world and in the hereafter. So there is no mentioning about you being an Arab, being superior over non-Arab, Malays in Malaysia, of course, Malaysian context, and Malays being superior over the Chinese or the Indians. No,
Mm-hmm.
everyone is equal in the eyes of the Lord of God.
Yes.
So
Yes.
likewise in Spanish Umayyad during the rule
Mm-hmm.
of the Umayyad. So the Umayyad dynasty had shown that this is actually something that is very, very uh, I would like to say that there is something that this can be done. It is not impossible. That is
Mm-hmm.
impossible. Yes, but unlike our current modern world, if you see in some other countries, the principle of la convivencia is almost, uh, if not impossible. Yeah, that's because one country is for one nation. So if you see, for one country, there are four nations. This is almost impossible. Unlike
Mm-hmm.
take
Yes.
take Israel for example,
Mm-hmm.
it only allows one nation, the Jewish nation. And
Mm-hmm.
remember also the apartheid South Africa during the apartheid era. It only
Yes.
acknowledge one race. That's the white. So
Mm-hmm.
pure discrimination against the blacks.
Mm-hmm.
So La Convivencia had set an example that uh, that harmonious coexistence between different faiths is totally possible. And
Mm-hmm.
and mind you, it lasted about 800 years, no joke. And
Yes.
of course, this is actually I want to highlight also one thing. This is actually not unique only to the Maya dynasty. If you
Mm.
look at the history, if you look at the Mughal dynasty, you also can see same thing. Islam and treats everyone equal. And
Mm.
Mughal emperors also got advisors from different faiths. Now
Mm.
during the Umayyad dynasty, of course there are few advisors also. The king, the sultan, used to have advisors from different faiths. I would like to mention there some of their names here. For example, here Ibn al-Qahtani, a Muslim, Hasdai ibn Shapiru, a Jewish, and
Mm.
then Rabbi ibn Zaid, a Christian. They were the advisors of the Sultan. So this is of course La Covivencia was truly a golden era of human civilization.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's why La Convivencia has actually become a point of reference, even a point of reference for Yale University. Yale University actually has a research page specifically dedicated to studying La Convivencia, spirit of coexistence. Back to you, Annie.
Right. So from what you have mentioned, actually, it is there in history. I mean,
Yes.
to live peacefully, to live in coexistence with people of different races, different culture, different religion. It is there in history, and even in the Islamic history, it is. In the Umayyad Caliphate, as you have said, Umayyad dynasty is actually a good example of how we can, uphold the principles of Islam, and at the same time, we can actually live in harmony with different groups. Okay, from your opinion, in what way does misunderstanding of the spirit of La Convivencia may impede or frustrate the efforts of building harmony and peaceful coexistence in this country, Dr. Asri?
This is a very important question, actually. This is a very important question. I would like to start off with examples from different countries. Take Bosnia, the closest to a very recent one in the 1990s.
Mm-hmm.
So, acceptance without acceptance without tolerance. Once the acceptance is gone, then tolerance will be gone as well. So, like
Mm-hmm.
I said, because you people tend to misunderstand acceptance, and they uh, confuse it with tolerance.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm trying to say is, when you accept, there shouldn't be conditional tolerance. When you
Mm-hmm.
accept, there has to be tolerance. Now,
Yeah.
what happened to Bosnia, for example? They accept that the Bosniaks are divided into three major faiths:
Mm-hmm.
Croats and Christians, and then these Serbs, and then these the Muslim Bosniaks. Now they accepted that there are three different faiths, but their tolerance of each other was conditional. That
Mm-hmm.
means the moment the legal framework was absent, the
Mm-hmm.
moment the legal enforcement was absent, then they went against each other, against
Yeah.
each other. The Serbs took up arms and killed their Muslim neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
They killed their Croat neighbors, and vice versa, That is why acceptance you have to equate it with tolerance.
Mm-hmm.
Tolerance has to be there cannot be conditional tolerance. Yes, this
Mm-hmm.
misunderstanding always comes up from these two terms, acceptance and tolerance. Now, even so, what I'm saying is this: uh, when like in Malaysia, we accept that there are three, of course, or four major races, ethnics, and religions: the Malay Muslims, the Chinese, and the Indians. So we have to accept the fact that they are here forever. They'll be here forever because
Mm-hmm.
we have made the decision to accept them, and they, vice versa, have made the decision to accept us. And so this acceptance has to be coupled with, has to be equated with non-conditional tolerance. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
non-conditional tolerance, which means even if there is no law, the tolerance has to continue, has to be there, continue to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you are alone with your friends in some place, with your friends of other ethnics, in some places where there is no enforcement,
Mm-hmm.
tolerance has to continue. Yeah, even if there is no authorities watching you, the tolerance has to continue. Yes, you
Mm-hmm.
treat each other always with respect, just like we said, is like the last sermon of Prophet Muhammad. uh, respect, and of course treat human with dignity. So same wherever you go, wherever you are, and
Mm-hmm.
whoever you be, same. So likewise, also I would like to highlight second thing, the misunderstanding that we commonly encounter with people, confusing between um, equality and justice.
Mm-hmm.
Equality and justice. Now
Yeah.
everyone, people want equality. But
Mm-hmm.
uh, I remember myself. Remember me and my colleagues. We were watching a football match, and some of us, of course, I was a little bit taller than some of us. Some of us were shorter, and now you know what we did. So these shorter friends, we gave them some things to step on. So
Mm-hmm.
eventually, so he could manage. He could watch the football match. So
Yeah.
we on the other hand, I didn't need anything to step on.
Mm-hmm.
So now what I'm trying to say is this: me and him eventually we got to watch. We were able to watch the football match, but him with a little bit of assistance. Yeah,
Yeah.
assistance. Because he needed
Mm-hmm.
to step on something because he
Yeah.
couldn't watch over the gate, the fence.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is what you call justice. Yes,
Yeah.
but this is not equal. This is not equal. This is
Mm-hmm.
not equal. I didn't step on anything. He stepped on something.
Yeah.
He needed this assistance. But
Mm-hmm.
this is what we call equality of opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Now I would like to repeat again. Do not confuse. We cannot confuse this equality and justice.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have justice, you will have equality. If you have equality, you don't necessarily will have justice. So
Mm-hmm.
stick on justice. That's why Islam, the concept of justice in Islam, true and true will always prevail.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, will always prevail today and beyond. So justice. So do not confuse this quality and justice. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Malaysia will always make sure that we have this. We continue to offer equality of opportunities. Don't worry. Don't
Mm-hmm.
worry.
Yeah.
Every SPM leavers, every SPM leavers will continue to have equal opportunities. Don't worry. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because this is important. The quality of opportunities will make sure that justice will be continued to be served to the people
Mm-hmm.
under circumstances. So this kind of these two kinds of misunderstandings are what I am very concerned of. Yes, uh, this acceptance with conditional tolerance, number one, and then number two, equality versus justice. These two misunderstandings are what concern me the most,
Mm-hmm.
because without these two, without clear conscience, without clear understanding of these two, we will watch another Bosnia in Southeast Asia, and
Mm-hmm.
then we will see another Myanmar in another Myanmar issue in Malaysia, and then we also saw the same thing even in Sri Lanka, even in Rwanda between this. We saw this ethnic genocide in Rwanda, and then ethnic genocide in Bosnia, and then we even have this total lack of respect for human dignity in Myanmar, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it is
Yeah.
the people of Rohingya, they
Mm.
are denied. They are denied even. They are denied even citizenship of Myanmar. So where
Mhm.
do these people go? Because that is why it is very important for us today here in Malaysia to have a very clear conscience of
Mm.
equality and justice, and as well as the acceptance and tolerance.
Mhm.
Yes, these are some of these things that are very important that we do not mix this up. So
Mhm.
we should continue to have this clear conscience of the two things I mentioned just now. So in order for us to continue living the way we are today, to continue enjoying the things we are today, and hopefully for many years to come, we will be able to reach a much greater tolerance, which is of course greater level of tolerance, which is of course in line with the teachings of Islam.
Mhm.
And of course, by doing so, we'll be able to avoid what countries like Bosnia, Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Rwanda had gone through in recent years. So
Right.
we are doing fine just now in Malaysia.
Mm.
We are just fine. The people are living happily. Yeah, I would like to mention also one thing. In our line of work, we are fortunate that we have these opportunities to travel overseas and see things ourselves. How fortunate Malaysia is and the Malaysians are. I saw one TikTok clip recently about this tourist from Europe. I
Mhm.
think uh, Europe, yeah, I think from Europe, maybe yeah, Europe or Australia, I'm not sure. But this couple was taking this train ride in Kelantan, and
Mhm.
then he mentioned one thing. He said these Malaysians, they couldn't speak of course they didn't speak perfect English, but
Mhm.
they understand. This couple understood one language, that Malaysians speak language of love.
Mhm.
I don't know I'm not really sure what he meant by the language of love, but he said from the moment he boarded the train, people
Mhm.
kept coming over to greet them and offer them food. And
Mhm.
so much so that he cried.
Mhm.
The couple cried out of appreciation, and they said these Malaysians, different ethnics came over to see them, greet them, and they kept smiling. And when I mentioned about the smile, I was fortunate also to do my PhD about our peacekeeping missions in Bosnia.
Mhm.
I remember one of my respondents, Ernie. I think her name, I just couldn't pronounce her name, but he said like this. She knew that these Malaysian peacekeepers, there were different ethnics. There were
Mhm.
Indians, there were Chinese, and then there were Malays. And he said, actually, she was wondering, what is wrong with you Malaysians? You people kept smiling all day long, even when you were being shot at. You know,
Mhm.
even when they were being shot at, the Malaysian peacekeepers continued smiling. He said, what is wrong with you people?" He said, and he said, overall, he would like to generalize Malaysians in her words, Ernie, in her words, she said, the best people under the sky. You know,
Masya.
we are so much closely related to each other here in Malaysia. We
Mm.
treat our even in the words of the Prime Minister, he always use this word, our Chinese brothers, our Indian brothers, our
Mm.
Malay brothers. So like we are all the entire country is the whole one whole big family. Yes.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
Bosnian respondent, she said she saw us Malaysian peacekeepers. They were talking and relating to each other like they were all big families. I think we don't realize this until we go overseas, and these people will tell you. They said, you people are of different ethnics, but how come you people like this, talk like as if you are families? And even our ethnic, I would like also take this opportunity. I see also this like in social media, especially TikToks. I
Mm.
saw some Indians TikTokers, and they like to create content on that carry the theme of
Mm.
unity, love, care among even different ethnics. Yeah. So like also the Chinese TikTokers, same thing also Malay TikTokers. So they even did these social experiments, and then they try to see how Malaysians public reacted to certain circumstances, and they were themselves very surprised. And in
Yeah.
fact, also, I was very surprised as well. So that's why I said usually only when we get to see the rest of the world only then can we appreciate what we have here in this
Right.
country. We are
Okay.
doing well, and we are doing very, very
Inshallah,
well.
Alhamdulillah. We hope to keep that, the kind of peace and the kind of harmony in Malaysia, and to make it sustainable and value it very much what we have in Malaysia. So, once again, Dr. Asri, thank you for being with us in this program. Inshallah, we'll invite you in the future. You've mentioned about your research on the peacemaking in Bosnia, and I think that's one of your expertise. How you look at what is happening outside, and how Malaysians are helping these countries who are facing troubles and so on. So
My
again,
pleasure.
thank you, Dr. Asri, and thank you to my producer, Haja Masina Alias, and also to our digital technology team who are assisting us today. And to our fellow listeners, you tune in again to Open Forum every Sunday with more interesting topics. With that, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi